But thinking about another guy that they'd have to give some money to, although I don't know, like Khris Middleton, if he were to enter the market as a free agent, he's going to decline his player option. If he doesn't renegotiate with Milwaukee, he'll enter free agency, and the Kings would have a chance to get, a guy that would be able to be probably the second scorer on this team, and albeit he'd be 31 or 32. I think he's going to turn 31, or he is 31, just turned 31. So you're talking about a guy that is slightly older than Barnes, but damn, if he's healthy, he's a hell of an offensive player, and he's a hell of a defensive player. And Willsie's stats made a great point, harkening back to Keegan Murray's introductory press conference after being drafted, where he was up there with McNair. He was asked, like, who do you model your game after? And he said Khris Middleton, and that just made a lot of sense to a lot of people. And I think even in pre-draft comparisons, he was often compared to Harrison Barnes and Khris Middleton. And you're now talking about a situation where if you could get him, you'd have not only all the stuff on paper and having a perfect fill-in in the starting lineup, you would have a mentorship for Keegan Murray. Again, the money thing probably and the timeline thing becomes a huge obstacle to that. But almost in that sense, I still don't think it's likely, but it almost feels a little more likely than the Kings getting Jeremy Grant. How do you feel about Khris Middleton if he were to be brought in?
Yeah, I think Middleton is just a better Harrison Barnes. So if you're thinking about bringing Barnes back, then you think about Middleton, and I think Grant's he's younger, obviously, but it's like at the point where it's like Barnes is a former champion. He's going to bring a veteran presence. And that's what Middleton is. He's a veteran with a championship under his belt. And he's going to play better than Barnes too. So I think Grant's lack of maybe being that vet and without that, he has some playoff experience from his time in Denver, but other than that, you still want that vet on that team. I think if you're thinking about bringing Barnes back, we definitely test the waters with Middleton for sure.
Yeah, and I think that experience thing factors in because the playoff pedigree. You be getting Grant would kind of just be he'd be kind of jumping on board. He would obviously help the team, but in terms of like championship experience and stuff, you're not getting nearly the boost that Barnes or Middleton gets you. And that was Barnes' first playoff series in 7 years or something like that.
It's crazy.
So it's like, not only do you have a champion, in Middleton, but you'd have a guy that is far fresher in terms of consistently being in the playoffs and whatnot.
Yeah, that's true.
If they could get Khris Middleton, damn. Even with the age thing, I guess because he only played like 30 games this year or whatever. He had the knee injury. Mm-hmm. So like you'd have to definitely want to make sure that he's, healthy and pretty good to go, which he should be, I think, by all accounts. But that would have to be a factor as well. It's just about like realistic. Is it realistic? He very well might just renegotiate another contract with Milwaukee. But I don't know. They just fired the head coach. Change could be abounding over in Milwaukee. Who knows? And I just think that Keegan Murray thing is kind of a nice touch. That'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
Pair those two together. Nice. Like, who are some, like David Robinson and Tim Duncan, passing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Passing the torch.
I like it.
Yeah. That should sell every Kings fan on the idea. Like, we're going to, what? That? Wow.
Dude, we're going to, yeah. David Robinson, Tim Duncan. Dude, Keegan Murray's going to be Khris Middleton? It's great. 2-time All-Star?
Legitimate two-way player, baby.